Hey, folks, welcome to Bouncing Brains. I'm Sean Hatfield.
And I'm Freddy G, the co-host of Sean Hatfield. And it is a beautiful Tuesday afternoon with our special guest,
Carlos Bringas, a.k.a. Lil Sancho, with the big gancho. Hey, thank you guys for having me, man.
Always be marketing.
Yep.
Got to stay on point with the branding, son.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Sorry, y'all doing on a Wednesday. Wait, no, Tuesday. I may have lost a day.
Feel pretty good, man. Freddy over here told me it was BYOB, but I'm the only alcoholic that brought a 12-pack, so I gotta drink it all by myself.
You're not even close to being an alcoholic. I used to buy a 30-pack for myself. No, but you don't understand. See, look, let me explain. We would go to get-togethers.
Yeah.
I would buy a 30-pack of Budweiser for me,
Right.
and then I would have to take something else for everybody else because nobody was touching that 30-pack.
Damn.
Like it
30-pack.
was. I was like that because I needed to make sure that I counted my beers.
Yeah.
Because I knew how many beers I was gonna get fucked up with, and it was usually the third. Well, I mean, 20 maybe.
Before you got a buzz?
No, before I got fucked up. But by then I was fucked up. But believe me.
How many beers did it take for you to get a buzz?
To get a buzz? About an 18.
Jeez.
Yeah, about an 8. I'm telling you, bro. I was bad. I'd been drinking since I was 13.
Yeah.
So in the prime of my drinking days, if you want to say, I mean, I'm not sure if it's something I should be proud of, but I could probably drink anybody under the table, like, just no problem.
Yeah. You should be proud of that, bro.
I don't know, man. I just...
Especially in South Texas.
I should...
Just means your descendants might be able to better process toxins down the road. Yeah. Got that strong liver.
I should be maybe proud of it, but my doctor wasn't. He was like, you have like a 70-year-old liver, bro. You need to cut that shit out now.
Jeez, damn.
Yeah, so... Anyway, I don't know how we brought our... because you said you were because Carlos said he was an alcoholic, but I'm not trying to make you feel better, but I don't really think... Believe me, an alcoholic will recognize an alcoholic when we see one.
I think it's fair enough to say that you have a problem with anything, be it food or substances, when you have to bring math into it. It's like if you're counting calories or fucking alcohol content.
Perfect example, Sean. This is how I knew that I was a real alcoholic. I was living in California, and I was on a budget, right? Yeah. But I mean a like real ramen noodle fucking type budget. You know, money was tight. So what I would do, every paycheck, I would sit down, and you figure out your bills, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No bullshit, man. This is exactly what I would do. I had a table like that. Sit out. Put all my bills or whatever. And then I was like, okay, this is for water. This is for light. This is for food. I didn't have a car. I took the train. This is for food. And this is for beer to get me through the week, right? And then I was like, fuck. No, that's not enough to get me through the week for beer. So, fuck it. I'll pay half of the water bill. Because I need enough to get me through the week.
Yeah.
That's how you know that you're an alcoholic.
Oh, yeah.
You were a functioning alcoholic.
Yeah, I was.
I was just going to say, man, you know I'm a real Mexican because we find a reason to bring beer to any occasion.
Yeah, we do, man. We do. We're having a party, man. We need a keg. We can do that. Man, are you turning 50? No, my son's turning 2, but you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
We're doing a podcast. I'm going to bring a 12-pack.
Yep. That's how we do it. Any reason that we can get.
To be fair, I'm sure we at least all cross a few demographic lines where it's like, oh no, there are reasons for this. Comedian, we're from the valley.
Exactly.
That's the recipe. Yeah.
That is the recipe, either to be funny or for disaster. Which one depends on what night we're on.
Fingers crossed, man. But I have not seen anybody go burning down in flames quite yet. So, the community's doing okay.
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
Yeah. We should be fine. But yeah, man, a lot of shit. Like I remember I used to do when And it wasn't even bad. Like, I was never like a bad drunk. I was never a violent drunk. The worst thing that could happen if I got really fucked up was I would just fall asleep. And I would tell you. I'd be like, hey, man. I would get to the point where I couldn't talk.
Yeah.
Literally. I couldn't formulate words. So I would just... and I would just, get up. And I would try. I would try to get up. And if I could, I would, bounce off the walls or whatever. Right. And if I couldn't, I was always around people that, had my back. So they would help me. And they would just go. And I would tell them, I was like, hey, man, if you're just going to take me inside and throw me, just make sure I land on the bed. You know what I'm saying? That's all I want. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was always like that. That's also the reason as to why I never got really fucked up at a bar. Because ain't nobody want to fall asleep at a bar. That's how you get raped. So, yeah.
It happened to me once.
Yeah, no, I'd stopped drinking in public for a long while, man, because I was blacking out on a regular basis. And I was like, this is going to end badly at some point.
Crazy. What's the worst thing you've done or that they've done to you while being drunk?
The worst thing
you've done or that they've done to you?
I gotta say it's homecoming night, high school, senior year.
Holy fuck. Okay.
Back then, man, I went through a phase where like cocaine was a thing. And when you mix cocaine with alcohol, it's like, you have no limits.
Cool.
Like you could continue to drink, you could continue to take shots. So I ended up taking more shots than I think my body could hang.
Yeah.
I ended up throwing up in the condo that my friend ended up renting. I threw up everywhere, and my friend came to help me, and he fell down, and he basically cleaned up all the puke with his body.
God damn.
So I crash out. I black out. The next day, I wake up. And my keys are missing from my pocket. My truck keys are missing from my pocket. And, I started asking around. And sure enough, one of my friends, they ended up taking my truck. I didn't even have a driver's license. They ended up taking my truck and going for a little cruise. These guys were more wasted than I was. And they were smoking weed. They were drinking. They were, taking bumps. They ended up taking my truck down the beach, doing, I don't know, God knows what. And then they ended up bringing it back. And my dad used to tell me all the time, don't let anybody drive that truck. I'm giving you that truck. Don't let anybody drive that truck. And they stole the keys from me. I think that's probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Grand Theft Auto's up there. That's on the list of shit that you don't want to happen.
You make me feel like shit when you say a story like that and say that that's the worst.
You didn't even pee on yourself. Come on now,
man.
Actually, that's what I was thinking when you were saying they went through your pockets. I was like, well, poor bastards had to wash the keys after that.
And this was just one. I'm pretty sure I can think of a worse shit that I've done, but one that I remember was we got really fucked up. Of course, that's how the story starts. But I mean, like, really fucked up. So I was with a friend, and we were in Alamo. He was supposed to drop me off in McAllen at my house, but he was worse. I was drunk, but I was tipsy. He was like drunk like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he was adamant that he wanted to drive because it was his car.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, you're drunk. Like, let me drive. Just drop me off. You can drive back. I want to get home safe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he was like, no, it's my car or whatever. And I was like, dude, like, you're really fucked up. And anyway, he ended up driving. So we're driving. And this dude, when we were driving, he was literally at every stop. He was like, and I was like, hey, man, I was about to say his name. I don't want to say his name. I don't want to put him out there. I was like, hey, man, wake up. Okay. And he would go. So he's there, whatever. And then again, at a stop. And I was like, hey, man, wake up. And I was like, oh, shit, man, we're going to get pulled over and shit. So, and then, sure enough,
Shit.
Fuck. So, all right. And then he was like this and shit already. Like, he managed to pull over, you know what I'm saying? So he was like this. And I was like, hey, man, wake up. It's a cop. And I was like, look at me. Look. I need you, you got like 10 seconds to listen to me. He's going to come up to the window, roll down the window. Do not say anything else other than what he asks. Okay? Okay, if not, we are going to jail. Do you understand that? Yeah. So the cop comes, knocks on the fucking window, rolls the window down, and the cop says, may I see your license and insurance, please? I'm going to repeat the question for anybody that didn't understand that. The cop said, may I see your license and insurance, please? That's all he said.
Yeah.
May I see your license and insurance? This dumbass unlocks the door, opens the door, hits the cop with the door, gets off. He goes up to the cop, puts his hand on his shoulder, and he says, and I quote, he said, you know I'm drunk. I know I'm drunk. Take me to jail. So the cop looks at me and he's like, sir, have you been drinking too? What the fuck am I supposed to say, you know? So they cuff him. They go around. He cuffs me. We're there. They put us in the back of the car. They take us. I don't know if y'all ever been to jail, but I've been there a few times.
Oh, yeah.
So they put us in the, you know how they before you get processed, they put you in a tank. I don't know if you've ever been in jail.
Yeah.
Okay. So we all familiar with the process, damn it. So we there in a tank or whatever. So we sitting down, and my homeboy's right next to me, and we're not talking whatever. I'm pissed as shit. You know, my buzz is gone. He's still drunk, right? But I'm there, whatever, and I'm like this, right? All of a sudden, he's on this side. All of a sudden, this is all I hear. And I turn around and this dude's crying, right? And I'm like, why the fuck are you crying? And this is exactly what he said. He said, 'cause we're in jail, man. No shit.
You're the one that got us in here.
I was like, because of you. And then he's like, oh, I was like, why did you have to fucking tell him that? Why? And he said this. He said, because because I thought that the truth shall set you free.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, man.
Too literal, man. Too literal.
It's just I don't have a story. I've never been to jail drunk. Knock on wood, Jesus Christ. But
it was just all the other stuff, right?
I did throw I did throw up in front of my mom though. That's probably the worst part because I went out drinking. Me and my wife. You know, it was like a very long time that we were able to go out because you know we had kids at a young age and we finally had the opportunity to go out. So me and my wife, we go out and I take advantage, man. We start taking shots. We start drinking beer.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I start taking advantage of my wife. I was like, holy shit.
I do that on a regular basis.
That was implied, Freddy. That was implied.
So I start taking shots. I start, you know, buying rounds for everybody. Her cousins were in town. And we start, you know, when I go out to drink, I like to dance, man. I don't like to just stand there, man. I like to, you know, get down. So, you know, my ego got the best of me. So I'm like, you know, just taking more shots. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but after you drink so much and you go outside and that wind hits you.
Hell motherfucking yeah, man. That shit will fuck you up.
Yeah.
Yes, I have been there.
So we get in the back of my mother-in-law's truck and we're driving to go pick up my daughters. I know, bad example to set. But luckily my daughter was like a few months old. And
that does not make it any better, bro.
You're digging this hole deeper, Carlos.
Yeah. I don't know if we can climb out of this hole by the time you're done.
Hey, I'm Mexican. That's my excuse. So we get to my mom's house because she's babysitting that night. And by the time we get over there, because it's from the South Padre Island, and we got to get to Laguna Heights. And I get on there. I mean, they're driving all the way. We finally get there, and my mother-in-law was driving with the windows down, and I was sitting in the back seat, so the wind was just hitting me, and I was just dazing off. So by the time we get to my mom's house, I couldn't hold it anymore. I open the door, and I'm everything comes falling out, dude. Everything comes falling out, and at that second, my mom comes out, and she's looking at me, and she's like. Just like the look of disappointment on her face. And the next thing she's like, Anselmo, which is my dad's name. He's like, Anselmo, ven a mirar a tu hijo. Míralo. Míralo. And I'm just puking my brains out, dude. I'm puking everything that I ate out that day. And that's probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me, honestly.
Oh, man. That's, I don't know if that's worse than... let you set you free and shit, but because it did not set us free that night, I guarantee you that.
Well, the best hope is, man, you never have to see any of those people ever again.
I'll be honest with you, man. He doesn't live here anymore, but we still talk. We talk like once a week. He actually texted me today. Ironically, he texted me today, and he sent me a picture of him fishing and drinking. And he put the life. And then I sent a picture of myself at work. And I put at the bottom, my life. And then I put hashtag 7 years sober.
You should have put on there hashtag the truth will set you free.
I should have. I should have.
Missed opportunity, man.
I wonder if he still remembers that shit. Because I sure as hell haven't forgotten it. So,
I've got a few incidents with friends of mine where it's like you don't even have to. You remember that one time with the, and they're just like, yeah, man, I remember.
Can we move forward? You know?
That was a different time in my life.
I've
grown as a human being.
I'm a changed man.
Oh man, I'm a changed man.
I changed my brand.
I've been to jail for weed though. That's for sure.
But I think we all. What's the?
It was just a little roach.
Yeah.
Same thing, man. Like I remember.
And I would hear stories that my friends would get pulled over and they had a little roach, and the cop would just throw it away and let them go.
Exactly.
And I never had that luck.
No, the one time I was pulled over, I had just dropped off my cousin, and he left his blunt in the car. My cousin, may his soul rest in peace, right? But he had left the blunt in my car. Right. So I got pulled over for speeding. I wasn't drinking. By this time, I was already sober. I was well into like 3 years sober. So I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do drugs, nothing.
Right.
But he left that blunt, and it was big. He hadn't even lit it yet. So I got pulled over, whatever. Do you have any drugs in the vehicle? Of course, I said no because I didn't know. I literally didn't know. And so he found it in the ashtray, and then he's like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Oh shit, that looked like a." And I told him, I was like, "It looked like a blunt." I did. I really did.
The truth will set you free.
Exactly. So I was like, yeah, man. So he's like, is that yours? And I told him, I was like, no, it's not mine. I just dropped somebody off. I didn't tell him who.
Right.
But I was like, I dropped somebody off. I think they might have left it there. Long story short, he actually took me in and he booked me under possession. And long story short, they wanted to give me 3 months. The fuck? In county for a blunt that I never lit. I wanted to tell the guy, can I at least have one hit so I can say that I did it? You know what I'm saying? But I
make it worth it, yeah.
Exactly. But back to my lawyer, I still keep in contact with him and everything.
Yeah.
It's the same lawyer I was talking about earlier. Right. I contacted him. And I got off with community service. I had to do, y'all remember that By the way, kids, if you're listening to this, don't do drugs. But y'all remember that dumbass Dare program?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think about this. Me, a Mexican recovering alcoholic, a disabled person, got chosen to go give speeches to at-risk kids.
For community service.
Yes.
Now, was this before or after you started doing stand-up? Because I just see that as an opportunity.
Yeah.
Just
This
walk
was
in there,
before.
like do the longest walk you could possibly up to the microphone and be like, kids, this is what weed will do to you.
Hold on. So I had and they were kids, literally, like they were first, third, fourth grade. You know what I'm
Jesus,
saying?
man.
So
What the fuck are you even gonna tell them?
that's my point. That's why I pointed who I was.
It's like, do you know what crack is? No. Well, let me explain crack for you.
This is who they sent to rescue your child, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like Sean said, what am I gonna teach them? So to play off the card that you said, I said that.
Yeah.
Because everybody saw me walk up the steps, right? And that's one of the first things I said. I told them, kids, I don't have much to tell you. All I can tell you is don't do drugs, because if you do drugs, bad things happen to you.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you ever try drugs, you'll end up walking like me. And I got even the teachers were like, can you say that? You know? So they called my probation officer, and I got kicked off the program. And they
For that statement?
yeah,
Jesus Christ.
they sent me to clean the shitters.
Honest
Literally,
work.
I was
Yeah,
cleaning the sewers. So if I would have just lied and kept my mouth shut, like they wanted me to do, they wanted me to talk with my mouth shut, basically.
Yeah.
I would have kept on giving speeches and it would have been easy, but I didn't know, man. I thought they really wanted me to tell them about drugs and shit and why you shouldn't do them. But
Well, no, that's ridiculous from the get-go, man. Fucking third graders have no fucking reference point for drugs.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Is
saying?
there a video of this?
No, this was way back before camera phones and all this. See, that's another thing. I'm so glad and happy that all the fucked up shit that I did, nobody has on camera. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because none of that shit existed. We had those disposable cameras.
Oh, yeah.
You might see me at some spring breaks back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But you have to find those cameras and those pictures.
On the flip side of that, it is beautiful that we live at a time where if you know you're going to do some dumb shit, you'd be like, hey, when do y'all pull your camera out and get this?
Yeah, exactly.
I may regret this later, but at least we'll have evidence.
Exactly. Actually, as a matter of fact, it's funny that we're talking about this because I just posted something an hour ago. No more than an hour ago. And I actually want to read it word for word. And it just popped into my head because I was reading something else. And I said, normally something historical, comical, normally something historically comical or disastrous happens right after you hear, hey, carnal, can you hold my beer? Wacha.
That's true.
Yeah, man, but
Dude, there's actually an acronym online for, I think it's, hold my beer. So it's HM, wait, damn it. I can't remember what it is, but some combination of that where it's just basically like, you see HM whatever, and it's like, oh, that somebody's about to do some dumb shit.
Oh, my
yeah,
beer.
exactly, man, exactly.
Though to be fair, I've seen some people do some completely retarded nonsense.
They should have one
just
for
to
Mexico.
stand in solidarity with you, Freddy. I too shall continue the use of the word. But nah, man, I've seen some people do some ridiculous shit. Stone cold sober, just a thought pops in their head, and they're like, "Fuck it."
I hate when people use the excuse, I stopped drinking because when I used to drink, I used to do a bunch of retarded shit.
Right.
No, you did retarded shit when you were sober. You just mixed beer in with it, and you if you did retarded shit before, you're gonna continue doing it. Don't blame the alcohol for it. Don't blame the weed for it. If you're retarded and you do stupid shit, you're gonna continue doing it.
Right. Well, I was listening to a conversation a while back, and they were seriously talking about the way alcohol impairs you, and it's not that it shuts down your functions. It's not like you're all of a sudden incapable of doing the calculations on risk. It's that you don't give a shit about risk.
Exactly. Yeah. You cross what me and my friend used to call the fuck it line.
The fuck it line is
once you cross that
road.
fucking line, yeah. It's not pretty after that, I guarantee you that.
Oh, yeah.
You can actually mark that if you look at your memories from being like completely fucking shit-faced. There's going to be that point in the night where you literally went, fuck it. Like
exactly.
Yeah, there's a reason they call it liquid courage.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Hell, show of hands. Who was drunk the first time they went on stage? Not? You weren't, Carlos?
Freddy's the only one that put his hand up.
Oh, no. I was blasted,
You were
man.
too?
Yeah. I mean, not beyond reasonableness, but vodka was definitely
I
involved.
think I had a beer too.
No, that night there was a whole I'm telling you, the presidential election in 2008. There was a whole lot of cuervo going through my body that night. And that is the only reason I got on stage because, well, I mean, what happened was I went for the beer. That's why I was there and I wanted to drink, and I'm cool and whatever, right? I didn't even know what an open mic was, to be honest. I didn't know what it was. I don't know what they did, whatever. So I'm there drinking, having a good time. And then the host, which I know now is a host, comes out and he's like, all right, it's that time of the night, whatever. If you think you're funny, get up here, whatever. And I was with my friend, right? And he was the only black friend I had at the time. For the people listening, I don't know why the fuck that was important, but I just said it.
It's very important.
Hey, man, I've heard you tell this story 3 times. You add new details every time.
So he was there, whatever, and he was like, "Hey, Fred, go, man, go. You're funny." And I was like, "No, I'm not funny, man. I'm not like that. You know, I'm drinking. No, man, you're funny." And I was like, "Man, I'm cool. I'm enjoying my beer. Don't kill my buzz. I'm good, right?" So this dumbass gets up and he's like, him right here. And I was like, son of a bitch. So then they had those little roof lights or whatever. And the host, he was like, all right, man, your friend says you're funny. You need to come up here or whatever. And I told him, I was like, nah, I'm drunk. And he said, that's cool. Like that, if you're not funny and we don't laugh at your jokes, we'll laugh at you. And I was like, no, I'm good. And then they put one of the spotlights on me, like right on me where I was sitting. And this is what the dude said. He's like, all right, man, if you don't get up here right now, we'll make this whole segment about you. And I was
peer
like,
pressure.
Oh, shit. So, yeah, that's how I ended up, fucking.
That was your first time getting up on stage?
Yeah, man. I was basically forced to get on fucking stage. I'll be honest, though. By the time I was done, I didn't regret it.
Yeah.
And I figured out that I could actually.
Did you have a pretty good set?
From what I can remember, yes, but that is not a fair judgment, and I'll tell you why. Because like the host said, I don't know if they were laughing at my jokes, or I don't know if they were laughing at me because I'm crippled, or I don't know if they were laughing because I was drunk. So there's 3 things in there that I wasn't sure of. And like I told, Sean's the only one that I've told this before to. Like 2-3 weeks later, I went back to do another open mic, not at the same place, at a different place. And I did what I thought was a set.
Yeah.
And I completely bombed. So yeah, I was sober though. Yeah. I was completely sober. And I completely bombed. So that's where my question was. I was like, maybe I wasn't fucking funny either when I was up there drunk or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
what was your first time behind the mic, man?
Behind the mic, I got to say it was, if I'm not mistaken, February of last year or January of last year.
Holy shit. Okay. So you're fairly new to this.
I'm fresh. I'm fresh to the game.
Oh, man. Wait till you get molested.
I can't wait.
You can-
We call it the Macaulay Culkin effect.
Yup.
Freddy, before I came here, he asked me. He's like, hey, can you bring some condoms, some anal beads? What else? Some wax. And I'm like, hold on a second.
Just so that y'all know, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. My name is Freddy, and I do not approve of this message.
I have the screenshots, Freddy.
All right, continue. Bees and
This
hot
guy,
wax and
this guy was brave enough, and he had enough balls to tell me this. And I'm like, hold on, Freddy. Buy me dinner first, at least. I'm not that easy.
and I'm that cheap, so it wasn't gonna work out. Is the conclusion I came to.
So, anyways, the first time I got a stage, I think it was April of last year, 2017. I got up. I came here to Cine El Rey because I looked everywhere. I Googled it, any open mics for comedy in the RGV, and I didn't find anything. And then finally, I came across, I Googled it, or I kind of searched it there on Facebook, and I came across Cine El Rey that they had comedy, and they had open mic on Tuesday nights. I went there, and I saw everybody, you know, all these comedians. I believe you were there, if I'm not mistaken. And I go up there, and I did a few good jokes. I had like a maybe 5-minute set. I did like 2 good jokes, and the rest I bombed. I bombed horribly. And I went home, and I was like, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I want to do this.
Oh, that's the worst thing you can do, man.
But I did hear the first time that you do it, you're gonna bomb.
Yeah.
Don't have any high expectations, and
Yeah, well, at least walk into it like you're gonna bomb.
And-
That way, if they
and-
laugh,
and
you feel
another
good about
thing-
yourself.
yeah.
And another thing that I want to share with you, because you're a baby, dude. You're fairly new. So, and that's no disrespect to you at all. But something I do want to share that I learned, and I learned this from Dave Chappelle and from Jerry Seinfeld.
They were talking to me one night after a show, and
co-
Dave says to me, he says,
no.
Go ahead, man.
I
Are
saw,
you sure it was
I-
Dave, or you were too drunk at that time?
it was a skinny, bald black dude. I don't know, man. He was smoking a lot of cigarettes.
Good one, dicks. Anyway, from a fucking interview on YouTube, because I don't know Dave personally, that they said that Dave's been doing this shit for 30 years, and he said that well into his 30 years, he's still bombed, and he's actually gotten booed. He said that the worst show that he's done in recent years, and this is like really recent. I think he said that it was in 2015. He did a show in Detroit, and he like completely bombed, like horribly, to the point where he was being booed off stage, and people were asking for their money back.
Damn.
So what he blames it on is the fact that he I don't know if you've seen his new specials.
Yeah.
But he talks about it in one of the specials. He's like, the headlines read wrong. He was like, the headline read, Dave Chappelle booed off stage, and he's like, that's wrong, because I was booed. I did not leave. He said that he continued to, and they continued booing him.
Yeah.
And he says that this lady went up, and she told him, she was like, Dave Chappelle, you suck. This is the worst show I've ever been to, and I want my money back.
Yeah.
And he said that he turned around and he told her, ma'am, I do apologize if you didn't like my show, but I do want you to know one thing. You'll never see a penny of that money that you paid me. He said. And he just like walked off and left. But he said, he did say also that was in Detroit.
Yeah.
He said, he was like, that's the worst show I've had in recent years. And I think he said that it was in 2015.
2015.
Jerry Seinfeld said that well into his into 20 and 25 years of his career, that he was booed off stage.
Oh, I've been booed, man. Mario took me to Mario Superstar Salazar. He took me to the Harlingen at the Tipsy Tavern.
Yeah.
And I was doing so good, man. I was doing some good spots. I was having some good luck, and I was like, man, I have this shit in the bag. Like I found the cheat code for comedy.
I like the way you put that. I haven't found it yet, bro. So if you want to give me that,
Well, I thought I had the cheat code, and then I'm like, I'm gonna come up with a brand new 10-minute set. I'm gonna talk about a story, and I go and I have one of my best friends go out there, and he takes his girl, and that's the first time that they're gonna see me. So I'm like, I got to turn it up, and they can relate to the story because they know who I'm talking about. I go up on stage, and I'm like, I'm about to murder. I'm about to murder on stage.
yeah,
I say the first joke, no response.
yeah,
Second joke, no response. I'm like, this next one's going to get them. Third joke, no response. I bombed for 10 minutes straight.
yeah, man.
And you could hear people in the crowd like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
You know, that's the
Yeah.
worst, man. And my friends weren't even laughing. They weren't even backing me up. That's how good of friends they were.
exactly. No, and I understand you, man, because I've actually gone on stage and the same thing happened. But I did figure it happened to me. I'll be honest, like 3 times, to where nobody laughed. Like, and this was in California. Nobody, like like in California is worse because in California, dude, if they're not laughing and if you're not good, they have no problem staring at your ass, and it gets awkward real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So but I figured it out. I figured out that the way that I got away from completely bombing, because I've still bombed before, but not as bad as like those times before to where I got no laughs. I figured out that I have, and I've told Sean, I have between 30 to 45 seconds to point out my disability. I have to. I have to point it out on stage. Because if I don't, and somebody, it takes one person for them, like, that they've never seen me perform before. Like, after a while, I've noticed that I lose the audience. I lose the audience in the way that I'm serious, man. Like, they start looking at me, and in their face, I could see that they're asking themselves, they're like, is he drunk, or am I too drunk? And I feel like they're asking each other,
Right.
like, does he know that he has that, or am I the only one looking at it? So they concentrate more on that than on what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I figured out I'm more successful when I point it out, because then I bring them in and I make them feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, okay, like, I get it. Like,
Right.
I feel that's the process they go through. They're like, oh, okay, I get it. He's cool. And not only that, but now I've kind of, in a way, given them the green card to be like, hey, bitches, if I'm laughing, like, you can laugh at this shit too. Meaning my disability or whatever. Because some people will get uptight, like the lady
Right.
with the retarded
Right.
joke
yeah.
and shit.
But
So-
that's honestly, that's more like to put it in scale, that's like level 2, level 3. Once you get past the, when you're like, I think I got the cheat code, but I don't know how it works. You have that urge to just go like, fuck it. I'm not even going to think anymore. I'm just going to leave myself exactly as I am. I seem to be doing okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which you don't grow any from that. But I'm saying like making an observation where you go, oh shit, like every single time, if I do not do this, I will not get the result I want. That's a little bit higher. Not high level, but like high enough level that you have to get past a few things to get to that.
Well, to bounce off of what Sean said.
By the way, I got a great bombing story, but I'll let you.
Just real quick to bounce off of what he said. I've noticed that because I've done it more than once. I've noticed that every single time that I go straight into my bit, and if my bit is not about something about my disability, and I continue, I've noticed every single time I do that without pointing it out, my whole set is just not successful.
Yeah.
It's just it's not. So I've learned.
You already have a routine.
I've learned. No, not only the routine. That's another thing that I have to play off of. When I talk about my disability or joke about it or whatever, or I have a bit about it, I've also noticed that I have to switch it almost every time, because I can't run through the same. Basically, what I'm saying is I can't run through the same crippled joke in every set.
Yeah.
Because I feel that after a while, it's like, okay, dude, you've said that before.
Right.
I can do that with some other jokes like the Trump joke. Those are jokes that I've done, and they continue to land.
Yeah.
The Trump joke, the being pulled over joke, those I've continued to use and they land. But the opening jokes that I use to refer to my disability, those are the ones that I can't use over and over again.
Yeah.
Like they need to be like fast throwaways, and then like don't use them again. I may be able to get away with using them maybe twice, and that's it.
I gotta say, man, that's pretty inspiring, man. That you go up on stage and you have enough balls to to do
let
that.
Let me tell y'all something, man. And the DJ from the radio station came up to me after the show, DJ Low.
Yeah.
He came up to me and he told me the same thing. I actually wrote a bit about it, and I was gonna use it tonight. You fuckers ruined it because I'm about to say it right now.
Let's see it.
Y'all can't see it, but we're twisting the shit out of his arm.
I'm not gonna go through the bit, but I'm gonna tell you how I formulated it. He came up to me and he was like, "Oh no, I'm lying." He came up to me and said, "What's up, hey man? You did great, awesome set." That's what he said. He posted on his Facebook, and he posted he commented on my video that I had been doing, and he said this comic was so good, and he has a disability, but it didn't let him stop him from killing his set. And he said, "This is so inspirational."
Yeah.
Right? That's what he said. Now you're saying that again. So what I say is, man, and this is true. It doesn't bother me. I don't give a fuck. But I'm just letting you know, and why I also wrote the bit. It's cool, man. I see that when y'all say that's so fucking inspirational. I know y'all mean good. I know it comes from a good place. But us as crippled people, we don't like to hear that shit. Because every fucking time you say it's inspirational,
Yeah.
you know what we hear?
What?
Man, if I was you, I'd have killed myself by now. I
Not in the least bit do we mean that. No.
That's what we hear, you know. If I was you, I would have already shot 3 or 4 people, man.
No.
Called it a day.
Don't take it like that, Freddy. The reason I say that is because there's not many people. Because when you go up there, us as comedians, we make ourselves vulnerable in front of people.
Yeah.
And especially you going up on there, it's very inspiring because there's not many. How else can I put it?
There's not many like
people
me.
with disabilities that go up there,
I
and that's very inspirational because not only do you speak for yourself, but you're speaking for a whole community.
Yeah, and for the people listening, I also want to point out that he's right. I may be speaking for a whole community, and my community is probably the only community that you can probably join at any time. All you gotta have is an accident or some shit. And it's not like a race thing, you know. When you're black, and you just join the community or what.
Well, I was thinking about that right now, man. There's a bit of a false pressure, man, because like nobody takes into account. Like I'm sure the ratio of like shitty comedians to actually funny people. I mean, there's probably a shitload of disabled comics out there that you've never heard of that suck. I mean, just they're horrible. Like if you watched them, you wouldn't even feel bad for them for a disability. It'd just be like, dude, you need to get off stage. You are embarrassing yourself.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of broken comedians emotionally. There's definitely a lot of comedians out there that they're dealing with mental illnesses.
Yeah.
But with disability, that takes it up a different notch, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's a different notch, man. I think you might there might be a little bit of a false equivalency to say that dealing with one thing might be the same as the other, but it's all some kind of like, I mean, Freddy, you've been like this your whole life, right?
Yeah.
Oh, your whole life?
Yeah. It's something that this is a factory defect. This is not gonna fucking go. Oh, which brings me to the point that I made last week, which you weren't here as well. Like I was telling him, this is some shit that I've dealt with my whole life. It's not like I woke up one day and like I can't like do this. And that's another thing that pissed me off about people telling me like, you can't say this, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's like the way I see it, and I don't like telling people that because I don't like making myself out to be the victim, because I'm not.
Absolutely.
I'm just like, the only point that I'm trying to get across is if I got the problem and you don't, and I have to live with it, why the fuck do you have a bigger problem with me than the problem that I already have? Like, it makes me feel like you're being a bigger asshole for making a bigger deal about it instead of just chilling the fuck out, laugh about it, and move the fuck on. Like, I'm not gonna imagine if I had their attitude, and like complained about everything or complained because, like, when I was a kid, they used to make fun of me or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. I see it as you got to play the cards that you dealt, and you move on from it. You can't just, and that's for anybody. It like when you're a black person and you feel that somebody has a problem with you or you're being discriminated against because of the color of your skin, whether you're Mexican, whatever. White folks, y'all got issues too. I don't know what the fuck y'all complaining about. Y'all have great credit and shit. But, we don't have. Anyway, what I'm saying is we all
have that white privilege.
Not all the time, but
not in South
Texas. It's a whole nother podcast. We'll bring a bottle of bourbon and I'll break down some shit for you. But you know, we'll disagree for the moment.
But my point is that we all have an issue that we deal with. You don't have to be disabled. You don't have to be black. You don't have to be Mexican. You don't have to be Muslim. We all have an issue that we deal with. My point is, if that person that has that issue doesn't have that big of an issue with it, and you have an issue with it, and you're not the one that has to deal with it on a daily basis, why? Just especially when you're at a comedy show. You if I can laugh about it, then you should be able to laugh about it too. So I mean that's but going back to your point, man, I don't want you to think that I'm ungrateful and shit. I do appreciate it, and I appreciate where that's coming from and shit like that, and I do it, and I do it. I'm gonna be straight up with you. I don't do it for me. I mean, I don't do it for you. But I do.
You do it for yourself.
I do it. I do comedy because it's crazy because I see I'm going through a lot of shit currently. None of it has to do with my disability, but I'm saying I found a way through comedy. I use it as like my therapy. And it's free. I don't have to pay.
What I want you to understand is that. It's very inspiring because making people laugh is a talent. You know what I mean?
That a lot of people don't understand.
That is a very good talent that you have. And basically what I'm trying to say is that you broke that boundary that people perceived. Some people I don't know how I can word it.
Some people, I like the way you pointed that out.
Damn it, Freddy, accept his pity. Accept it.
I mean, I mean, when I saw you, the way you put your taglines, the way you put your punchline, I was questioning myself. I was like, wow, like this guy's very smart, and you break that boundary of what normal people some people might think about.
It's not about being smart because I'm not smart and I'm not a genius by far. But
I'm saying your punchlines and your taglines are very.
I'm saying. Like what I'm saying, and the advice that I give to like any comic or anybody that wants to do comedy is the best and most effective way to be funny. Like you're saying, is be yourself.
Absolutely.
And what I mean, that sounds so corny, but I literally mean be yourself, and this is what I mean by it. The funniest comedians, bro, because I've done my homework, and I continue to do my homework every day. Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Jerry Seinfeld, you know what I'm saying? These are the people that I follow. Red Fox. And point being is that you have to point out and you have to talk about you. Mm-hmm. People have to know you on stage. Not unless you're very, very geniusly creative, like Jerry Seinfeld, that he's known as the king of comedy about nothing. This dude has a brilliant joke about a Pop-Tart, and it's fucking hilarious. But I'm not that creative to write like that. So when you're not that creative, again, my best advice is talk about you, talk about your life, talk about your experiences, and just put a little twist on it to make it funny.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, when you are yourself and people see that you're yourself, they will pay you with a laugh.
Absolutely.
And this is the last thing I'll leave you with. So, because Sean wants to say something, last thing I'll leave you with. A lot, and I say this a lot because I want people to use this as an example. That joke, that bit that I have about being pulled over, and that they ask the stupid questions and so on and so forth. Remember that joke?
Yeah.
Okay. That joke, a lot of people don't know that joke was real. Like from the premise, from the beginning, all the way through, everything I said was 100% real. And that was like real. It was, the whole joke was real. The only thing that wasn't real was the punchline. Like the cop did not ask me to suck his dick. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the punchline. But everything that happened, that they asked me, can you walk a straight line? Can you do that? That really did happen. Point is, that is shit that I really go through, and it's my experience. I related it to the audience. A lot of people, I'm sure, can relate to it, and then they picture it, so that's why it triggers a laugh.
Yeah.
Point being, use your experiences, put a little twist on it, and I guarantee you they will pay you with a laugh.
Well, Freddy, I just want you to know that you do inspire me. I want you to know that I'm inspired by the local talent. I like to see the local people succeed. And what I'm trying to say is that you're one of a kind, and I want you to continue to pursue your dream, and I want you to become successful. Is what I want you to understand when I say that you have a talent and that you're inspirational.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm not very good at taking compliments.
#, no homo.
I'm not good at taking
Say,
compliments.
we didn't need the lube in the anal beads. You went straight for the cock. That was lovely. That was beautiful. It was a little awkward that I was in the room.
You were going to say something, Sean.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, I was going to actually, I kind of got to it a little bit earlier, man. It's all right. The fact that you've lived the way, with disability your entire life. And all right, it's like this, man. We all got the shit that we come in with, right? Like the baggage, the either physical, emotional, family, whatever. We're in the position we're in. And either you learn to deal with that shit or you don't, and it becomes a fucking problem. But the assumption is that you see someone functioning in the world, they've dealt with some shit. Like, that's one of the things that irritates me about the whole, like, this person has privilege, that person has privilege. It's like, whoa. Let's first, safe to assume that somebody who's functioning in the world has dealt with some shit.
Yeah.
You don't get anywhere functioning without having figured out how to deal with something, right?
Yeah.
Now, from there, you can break it down and go, oh, well, they were able to deal with, okay, that's fine. But it's like, okay, if you got up on stage, Freddy, and just didn't even acknowledge the physical thing, man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think it would put people off, and you've observed that it does put people off, man.
Yeah.
But like that, I mean, I think that's got to be like a subconscious thing, because there are so many things where like somebody could get on stage and it's like, what, just because you can't observe that this person has like some quirk in their life, I don't know. I may be getting a little too far out on the philosophical branch here.
No.
I may be stoned. I ain't gonna lie.
No, I like where you're going. I
want what he's having.
Well, okay. Think about it like this, man. Like you were talking about, like Seinfeld's ability to do jokes that are almost from this first person perspective, and because that's where his head's at, man. As a person, that's how he's thinking about life. It's like, what am I doing in my day? Whereas I think a lot of us use the perspective of our self in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we're not talking out of our own like eyeballs when we're telling a joke. We have to paint the scene for you, give everything. Yeah. It's like Seinfeld's literally telling you about shit in front of his face, which is, it's a matter of perspective. You know what I mean?
And to tag on to what you said, that's why Seinfeld is a fucking comical genius, because he's so creative that he brings you into my world, and he literally says, I'm gonna show you why this sock is funny in a way that you've never thought of. Yeah. And you maybe did, but you never really paid full attention. Like, for example, my favorite fucking joke of his, and it's been my favorite so far, And it's so simple, dude. But and you sit back and think about it. You're just like, why the fuck didn't I ever think of that? And it's real simple and it's real short. My favorite joke that he does is he says, and this is true, by the way. This is also true. It's factual. He asked the audience. He's like, do y'all know what the number one fear above all human being in the world is? And then that's public speaking. Mm-hmm. And I Googled it. And it's true. The number one fear for human beings is public speaking. Mm-hmm. We are horrified of speaking in front of other people.
Yeah.
Hence why the fuck are we comics? Anyway, that's a different story. And then he said, do you know what the second biggest fear for every human being is? And he said, death. Dying is the second biggest fear for every human being.
Yeah.
Here comes the punchline. This is not the way he says it, but then he said, so, next time you're at a funeral, just remember that the guy giving the eulogy thinks he's better off in the fucking box.
Nice.
I thought that was fucking genius and hilarious.
I've actually got a question for you, Freddy, because I remember coming across a podcast with a couple comedians, and they were kind of musing on the idea that it may actually be more difficult for men to try stand up for the first time, or it may be easier for women because in their life they have been looked at, you know what I mean? They have been the center of attention, you know what I mean? People look at them when they walk in a room, as opposed to like, as guys, like if we walk in a room and everybody starts looking at us, we're like, what? I got a stain? Shit, am I about to be in a fight? You know, there's a different thing there, man. Like, I'm curious, man, do you think that played any aspect to, I mean, how uncomfortable were you having a room full of people look at you for the first time? I mean, actively look at you, not like, you know, oh shit, I tripped, you know.
My
Is that a clear question?
Yes, it is. I got you. So my biggest, how can I? Okay. So my problem has never been my disability. I've never feared. It's like, well, ever since I was a kid, ever since I was at a very early age, I knew that I was gonna have this shit and that it was never gonna go away. I'm a grown man now, and I still get the stares at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? I do. That's never been the problem. Once I figured out, hey, dude, you're going to live with this shit until you die. Right. Once I got over that, like, I was good. But on the other hand, and this may sound a little contradicting, but it's not. I've always also had stage fright. I don't like fucking speaking in front of people, right?
Okay.
So to bounce off what you're asking me, I had more of the fear of, like, literally, when I'm on stage, I don't want you looking at me because you make me fucking nervous. When I get on stage now, I still get nervous.
Yeah.
And I get nervous sometimes to the point where I'm frozen stiff. Literally. Okay. I can't move. And it's horrible. But since it still happens, but since I've been doing this, I've learned. You have to learn, okay, if this is what I want to do, how do I overcome this? So this is what I'm not saying that this will work for you if you have stage fright, but I'm telling you what worked for me. What works for me and what puts me at ease is I always, again, within 30 to 45 seconds, I have 30 to 45 seconds to look into the crowd, and I have to see one face. One. Doesn't matter if it's a man or if it's a woman. I look at one face. Once I identify that face, I stare at that face all night when I'm doing my set, right?
Okay.
The reason as to why I do that is because inside me and my anxiety, it makes me feel like the conversation that I'm having, the joke, the premise, the punchline, whatever, is more personal. And I feel like I'm talking to them. And it kind of blurs out everybody else. So that calms my fucking nerves
Your
down,
nerves.
so I'm able
Right.
to you know what I'm
Because
saying?
it feels like you're having a conversation with that person.
Exactly, and it makes me be quick, and I can get into a flow. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did, man. Like I mean, I don't know.
Because you were,
it's all anecdotal, man.
Because you were looking.
It was
at me
basically
with
the idea that women may find it easier to go up for the first time. Like nothing to do with talent or whatever. I think we're all pretty equal on that. Though there does seem to be some correlation to like
well, with the exception,
us trying to impress them.
with the
and that
exception of Amy Schumer, but
no, it's cool. Kick her again. Go ahead.
I say that because over the past 3 podcasts, we've had this conversation, and I just been shitting on Amy Schumer like the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And now
I don't think you brought her up last time. I think that was when Rudy was here. But
did I? Well, I didn't.
no, it was just
Because now I'll sporadically bring it up randomly. And,
Yeah.
Because I keep shitting. Point is, I keep shitting on her because I believe that she's not funny at all.
Yeah.
Like she's
Did you
not-
ask her out on a date and she said no,
No,
and that's why
no.
you're
This
shitting
was
on her?
And I mean, not to hate on anybody, but like, white women is not my cup of tea, so that would never happen anyway. But that has nothing to do with the fact that
You really are crazy. You like to deal with Latinas or what?
Well, I mean, that's a conversation for another. But I'll answer your question. I prefer either Latinas or black women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what she said. Anyway, so Amy Schumer,
Yeah.
the bone that I have to pick with her, and that's why I have no respect for people that do this. She's not the only one. But number one, she's not funny. And number two, she's been caught stealing jokes.
Stealing jokes, yeah.
So I
Fuck
just
her.
I can't. No, and not only that, dude, but honestly, she that special that she has on Netflix.
Yeah.
I managed to watch 17 minutes of it, and I didn't laugh once.
You didn't dig it? I haven't seen any of her work.
Okay.
I think about it like this, man.
You're
I
not
th-
missing anything. Anyway.
I think as far as there was a point in time where Amy Schumer was getting a lot of publicity out there, and I can definitely see why some comics who, I mean, rightfully had, she's not funny. That okay, you can put that right out there. As
You're
as-
defending her
You can
because
end.
it's white
No.
people stick together.
Uh,
White privilege.
please, motherfucker, I'm from the valley. I didn't see a white man until. No, I'm kidding. I got family, but no. The thing with Schumer is it's like her 15 minutes are fucking done. Don't get me wrong. She's still out there. She's still making money, but that's because of the context that she has. I mean, she's built herself a place in the
No.
entertainment industry. What I'm saying, what I was getting at, is just stop fucking talking about her. If she ain't funny, don't talk about her.
That's true.
Like I've seen a couple of shit comedy specials recently from people that I more or less would respect otherwise, and it's like we will not talk about that.
But-
Except for Chris Rock, that last one was dog shit. How dare you, sir?
Yeah, there's no such thing as bad
It's like
publicity.
he sleptwalked his way through that one. And I was like, I mean, that was
I disagree.
you don't okay. What was
Tambourine?
Yeah.
No, bro. The police brutality joke was funny. The child abuse joke was funny. The one where he said I'm raising black kids.
Right.
I'm getting them ready for the world. And he said because when they go out there, they're gonna meet bullies and they're gonna beat the shit out of them. And he says, so every day that I wake up in the morning and my son wakes up, the first thing I do is I punch him in the fucking face because I want him to know that that's what the world is going to feel like. And then his punchline was, so if you don't punch your child in the face, that's child abuse in this day. So now I can see where you maybe saw a lot of the dry parts because
That was the main issue, man. It didn't seem like the material was as polished as. I mean, you go back and compare it to his older material, and that shit was razor blades, man. That was intended to do a job.
We could say the same thing, like if you really want to go down that route. I mean, It's like when we saw Eddie Murphy, man.
Right.
A vintage Eddie Murphy does not, and this is talking about comedy, and this is talking about as an actor. I've always said this before. Vintage Eddie Murphy is never gonna beat. I'm sorry. Modern Eddie Murphy is never gonna beat vintage Eddie Murphy. I don't know what he did in Daddy Daycare, but Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2, and 3 were fucking hilarious. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's and you can disagree with me, and I respect, if you say no, well, Chris Rock's new thing, it's just I wasn't feeling.
Well, let's put it this way: it was none of the material that he was covering was stuff that I was like, I don't know why Chris Rock is talking about this. Like, no, it was all stuff that I would expect from a Chris Rock special, but it was like that last bit of work wasn't done on the material, man.
Let me, and kind of in a way to his defense,
and that may be the fact that he hasn't done a special in so many years that, like, I mean, all right, take like Louis C.K. when he was doing them like back to back to back. He had a couple in there that were like, nah. But I mean, the fact that it's like, okay, well, he's coming out with a new one next year. It's like, it's the Chinese democracy, man. You can't work on shit for 10 years and then come out with some half-ass fucking bullshit. You can't.
I get it.
There's expectation there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's disappointment. That's not like fucking me going, and Amy Schumer came out with another one. Like, I don't care. I don't care. I actually like Chris Rock.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Amy Schumer sucks. But Chris Rock, you know what I'm saying? I understand. I understand that Chris Rock set the bar here.
Right.
And for the ones not looking, it's really high. And the last special, I can see why you feel it didn't meet your expectation. And
maybe that was what he was shooting for. I mean, he came out in what, t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
Yeah. He was
much
casual.
more toned down.
Yeah,
very casual.
But well, it's because we're different. I guess what I'm trying to say is there is, when I listen to a comedy special, yes, make me laugh.
Right.
Like, same thing when I listen to music, make me jam out. But my thing is, don't only make me laugh. Give me substance. Tell me something either that I don't know or something that I haven't thought of.
Well, okay, that's part of my grievance with the special, man, is like a lot of that material, he only dug down. That was like surface level on a bunch of that stuff. Even the whole bit about like, oh, I punched my kid in the morning, and if you don't, that's child abuse. It's like, I would have expected him to go like, it's like he got to that point and it was like, and there was nothing else. Because he used to break shit down to the point where it was like you were like, oh shit, he hit the punchline. And it was like, oh no, shit, he's going to talk for another 3 minutes. And it's still hilarious the whole way through.
Also, we go back to the same thing, man. Again, unfortunately, we live in an era where people's ears are too brittle. And I'm not going to speak for him because I don't know. But you also got to remember Chris Rock's comic star is up here. And he has a representative. He has an agent. He has an image to uphold per se. So, but what I'm getting at is it's all bullshit in politics at the end. So, going back to your argument of like he just kind of scratched the surface, I just feel that as a comic in this day and age, we're under fire. So there's things that you can't talk about in detail. Today,
I don't buy that, dude. I'm not. All right, that would be the point at which we would disagree on that. I don't buy that. That's a cop out, in my opinion. Now, granted, I'm not in Chris Rock's head, and here's the point: to wrap this all the way back around, I would never have even brought up the fact that I was disappointed in that special if it weren't for the fact that we were talking about being disappointed in specials. It's not something.
No, you got mad because I brought up Amy Schumer.
Oh no, I don't give a fuck about that cunt. But no, I think there is a little bit. She's a convenient punching bag for a lot of, like, that's one thing I do get irritated about is when motherfuckers, like, instead of actually trying to make a point, and I'm not saying you are, Freddy. It's a running gag. God damn it, it's good. I'll hold her down. You kick her again. But no, the motherfuckers do find convenient shit like, oh, look at what, so and so got a special and all this, and it's like, motherfucker, what the hell are you doing? Like, don't tell me about other people. So I mean, that's where I would get a little bit. I would have to play devil's advocate and defend the woman. Because it's like, look, motherfucker, you can say all you want. She stole the jokes, which there seems to be evidence that she did.
Yeah.
She's not doing anything original on her specials, which is my contention with the whole thing. It's just like, I've heard all this shit before. Like, even your punchlines, I've heard this before.
Yeah.
Whose jokes did she steal?
There were various writers.
Various, yeah.
Tosh, Daniel Tosh. There were a couple writers on, I forget what show it was, but they basically just snatched whole gags out of it.
She even took, again, don't because.
And a lot of this was on her writing staff, and there are a couple of the writers that were on the staff that will defend her.
There's been recordings, and we're being recorded and everything, and y'all can fact check me and correct me if I'm wrong. But I even think there is a point where she stole some of George Lopez's material.
No shit.
And she again, I may be wrong, but what I understood from this, because I think Joe Rogan was the first one to point it out.
Yeah.
She took some of his material, and the only thing that she changed was the race. So instead of the people in the bit being Mexican, they
made them into white people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically. Again, I may be wrong. Don't 100% quote me on this, but I think that's what that's one of the issues that George had, and when he came out and talked about it, and he said the same thing about Carlos Mencia.
Yeah.
But Carlos Mencia got caught like red-handed, bro. Like he stole, and I saw this, like I watched it. He stole a whole 15-minute set from Bill Cosby.
Oh yeah.
From Bill Cosby. So there go the.
You almost made it out without getting caught.
Yeah.
Yeah, just take the wire off your foot.
Yeah, he stole from
you know what? I'll have to say this, man. I even do have like the perspective of kind of taking it. How do I put it, man? I don't assume malice right away, even when it comes to plagiarism, because I have to confess that the first live comedy show I ever went to, like the first comedian where I was like, I want to go see that person, was Carlos Mencia, man. I went to a college show that he did in Edinburgh, and he did 2 hours. And to be honest, even at the time, I was very much noticing the fact that the tone of bits of material would change. Like, and it's like, it's almost like he's taking on a different character.
Exactly.
And dude, he did that interview on I Am Comic where he was like, fuck yeah, I steal.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna take your joke and I'm just gonna add Mexican to it.
People took it as him being sarcastic.
No, fuck that. He's clearly got some kind of personality issues, man. Like, I've never met the guy one-on-one, man, but just like when he's been candid in interviews, like he did the Marin podcast, that would be the irritation that I have, man, because he actually was hurting. Like, he wasn't stealing from known comedians. He was stealing from guys that were trying to come up. Like, this was their fucking labor.
Their bread and butter.
Yeah, and some of them weren't getting paid for this stuff, though apparently he did pay a few people. There was an interview with, I forget the guy's name, but he did, Marin did a follow-up interview after he had Mencia on, and again, I cannot remember the dude's name, but he toured with him for years, and he was like, yeah, man, he took care of me. And there's all kinds of stories of Mencia, like buying people cars and like, I'm gonna go get you a watch.
Well, I mean, it's just like Rogan said, man, just because you're a shitty comic, it doesn't mean that you're a shitty person. And he said, just because you're not creative, it doesn't mean that you're not a good person. It's just, and that's exactly what Rogan said. He's like, I'm not saying he's a shitty person. I'm just saying he's a shitty comic and he's not original. That's all I'm saying.
Well, no, I would flip it the other way around, man. Like, it's, well, not all the way around. How do I put this, man? The fact that some of his actions had detrimental effects, like not just negative, like they fucking felt bad. There were detrimental effects because comedians that he was taking material from, even the guys that he was compensating, it's like, dude, this is somebody who's trying to be known for their craft. This isn't like a writer. You know what I mean? There are a lot of guys that try comedy and then they're like, fuck it. I'm better in the writing room, so they get those kind of jobs. But you're talking about guys that are out there trying to build themselves based on the quality of their material. And you're going to take, like, dude, there was I've run into that situation, man, where I've heard people do material from comics that I fucking respect the shit out of. And it's not just like, okay, you're a fucking hack and you're just repeating shit you heard on the internet. It's to the point where it's like, motherfucker, respect the artist. You know what I mean? Like, if that motherfucker was sitting in the crowd, would you have the balls to do his material to his face? I mean, if you're that kind of sociopath, fuck, I don't know. More power to you, I guess. But
Have we ever had anybody in the Valley do that?
From people in the Valley?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are a few instances I've heard stories of. There's, dude, that shit happens. But that's the kind of thing you deal with. I mean, look, plagiarism fucking occurs. One of my favorite quotes of all time, and this has been done by a couple people, and it's been butchered to shit by even more. But basically, a good artist copies, a great artist steals. And it's basically the idea of like, okay, you can read a book and you can repeat what you heard in the book. But until you've internalized that and made that part of your thought process, you have no claim to it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the way I take that, man. So there is an element of like, you know, fake it till you make it type of shit. Sometimes you just got to fucking pantomime until you actually figure out what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Guys, we're kind of wrapping this up right now because we got to get going to an open mic.
Yeah, so there's a lot of other shit that I wanted to get with you, Carlos.
What's up?
We didn't get around to it. No, we ran out of time. But what I'm trying to say is I do want to have part 2 of this conversation because there was a lot of other shit that I wanted to get. Because mainly, man, because I heard your set for the first time that day that I performed. But I had already heard about you through Mario and through Rudy.
Oh, really?
And the things that they were telling me. And I think I'm not going to lie, I think I even saw a clip somewhere. Somebody showed me, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could relate to like the shit that you were saying. So I was like, hey, this dude, like, he sounds good.
Yeah.
So I wanted to meet you, man. I was like, and then they told me, oh, he's from South Padre Island. And I was like, well, shit. I was like, I don't know how that's gonna work, but yeah, man. So hopefully we can have a part 2 of this conversation for us and for the listeners. But like I've been telling everybody else that I've been trying to bring back, we do want to give space.
Yeah.
To for y'all to live and experience and come back with new experiences and shit.
Absolutely.
So if we book you again, it'll be sometime in the future.
Okay.
Not that far out, but
I'd like to have you get a chance to actually say something on here. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think Freddy may have scared you with the anal beads a little bit. You were a bit
A little
quiet.
bit. A little bit.
You're like, I don't know how comfortable I am.
That's why I had to bring a 12-pack, man. I had to loosen up a little bit.
No, you're a thinker. You're planning ahead.
Yeah.
It bodes well
Definitely.
for you, sir.
Yeah.
You got any social media contacts you want to give out there?
Yeah,
Any shows coming up?
I got a show coming up this Friday. It's probably one of the biggest shows that I have going on from my whole comedy career. I'm going to be opening up for Raymond Horta in my hometown in Port Isabel.
Holy shit, you lucky bastard. I forgot about that too, dude. Fuck, I have a show coming up.
Oh, really?
I have a show coming up on Thursday. On Thursday at the Reserve and Social, I'm opening up for Cool.
Cuagenti.
I can't pronounce this.
Where's that at? Harlingen?
No, Reserve and Social.
Edinburgh.
In
Oh,
Edinburgh.
yeah, Edinburgh.
In
Edinburgh. I saw that.
Edinburgh. Shows at 9. I'm the opening act, so I might be the first one to go up. Y'all are more than welcome to come. It's a free show. So yeah, I'll be there Thursday. It's the 19th.
Yeah.
The 19th, the day before my daughter's birthday. So
Awesome.
so yeah, I got that show. You can find me everywhere on social media. Well, not everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Freddy G. And you can find the podcast on YouTube, Bouncing Brains, and
Carlos, your social media contact?
Yeah, well, not only this show this Friday, I don't have anything booked, so if anybody's out there listening, they want to book me, Lil Sancho with the Big Gancho.
Let them know where to get at you, man.
Yup.
My social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't really fuck with Twitter that much, but you can find me at at C Bringas Funny AF. By the way, my memes go viral, all right, in Mexico.
I love how
Nice.
you plugged that in there. And they find you, Sean.
Yes, you can always find my ass at hatfieldstandup@gmail.com as well as on Facebook and Twitter.
All right.
And you can find the audio version of this podcast at shoutengine.com/bouncing brains.
Yes. Again, people, this is fairly new. So I'm still trying to memorize all that shit so we
Don't
can
let them
throw it
know
out
we
there.
don't know what we're doing, Freddie.
They're supposed to know this.
Fake
They
it till you make it.
The truth will set you free.
Exactly. So yeah,
All back.
until next time, we should be recording again this Thursday. We'll have some more guests.
Episodes out Wednesdays and Fridays, y'all.
And until next time, y'all have a good rest of your night.
Take it easy.
Peace.